Good morning, everybody. How you doing? So before I go to the gym, I wanted to go ahead and give you some responses to the wake of my previous video concerning finding the one, and it only takes one time to be great, and you should be seeking greatness. One of the questions, that has been raised to me is, how do you find the one? Well, here's the thing: there is no the one. There are many ones. Okay. We have this idea, this urban myth in our head that there is but one person on this earth who is determined to be with us and determined to be our soulmate. All right, that's not true. That is not true. I've met too many people who they had glorious first marriages and second marriages. I've met people who had horrible first marriages but then had a glorious second marriages. Horrible first and horrible second, and then they had a glorious third. And some people will say, well, they married people who they weren't supposed to marry. This is true. They did marry people who they weren't supposed to marry. But it is only through an understanding that they came to that allowed them to have a great marriage. And how does that work? It works by you loving someone effortlessly. You see, me, myself, personally, I'll tell you something about myself. The primary language of love that I speak is through affection, physical touch. Okay? Primary. Now, if you place me with someone who does not receive love that way, who receive love through affirmation, who receive love through acts of service, who receive love through gifts, then you're placing me with someone who is not going to be the one for me, because it's going to take too much effort and energy for me to show that person love. And it will constantly be a battle. Now, I receive love in the same format. I don't need gifts. Don't need words of affirmation. One of my favorite songs says the words don't mean a thing. But physical contact, spending time together, conversation, having fun, peace, I receive love that way. So, in order for me to know that I am loved, that's what I require, that's what I need. But if it's someone who cannot show love in that format, then they are not the one for me or a one for me. And that's okay, because that's how it works. Now, can somebody put forth the effort and change themselves and become that person? Yes, they can. But if you have to take too much energy and effort to do that, and you're constantly struggling to do so, it's one thing when you decide you want to be something and you just become it and you're happy in becoming that thing. But when you struggle to maintain it, there is a problem, right? And if you're in that situation, you're having that problem, whether you are the one struggling or they are the one struggling. Now, if you're dating, it's an easy fix. Stop dating. Just stop. I know nobody wants to be alone. Nobody wants to break up. But just stop. Because you're setting yourself up and you're setting them up for a failed relationship. And why go through the pain? Why? Why would you want to do that? Okay. Here's the thing about pain. And this is going to answer the second portion of questions that's been asked. Most of us, all of us actually, we are always in the seek of pleasure over pain. That is just how we work as humans. That is how most animals on the planet work. We look for pleasure and try to avoid pain. Now, the problem is that as reasoning beings, we can determine if something is pain, but it actually is pleasure. Or we can see something as pleasure, but it's actual pain. It is our perception of pain and pleasure that often throws us off. And this is where the problem comes into relationships. Okay, so I was at a seminar about a week or so ago. And in the seminar, one of the things that the lady said is that after she had committed adultery, because she thought the adulterous relationship was a point of pleasure for her because it was more pleasurable than the pain that she was going through within her relationship and within her work and that sort of thing. So then she saw the adultery as a point of pleasure. After she went through everything she went through, I won't give you the whole story, but she went through everything she went through, she come to realize that the adultery caused way more pain in her relationship. It was way more painful to herself individually. So she created for her own perspective that adultery is total pain. So that anytime something looked like it or smelled like it or even tastes like it, she would just go into a state of pain that she would flee from it. This is how, for you who want to understand how do you flee from sin, you create a source of pain of whatever that thing is that you were doing. All right, that's how it works. That's a simple answer for that. All right, but come back. So, pleasure and pain. we always want to seek pleasure over pain, but we have to understand what's true going on within us. Is our decision truly a pain decision, or is it truly a pleasure decision? So here's the problem that we have in relationships, and here's the big secret. Here's the grand finale, guys. This is how you help to get to the one. Most women, well, most of us, period, when we were young, we are very much looking for relationships because we see them as sources of pleasure. Most of us. Then, as we grow older and we start to experience pains within relationships, we start changing the viewpoint of it. Oftentimes, many women, especially I'm 43, who will get into their 40s and they will say, I'm doing fine by myself. I am happy and good by myself. And some of you right now are saying, but I am. Let me tell you what you are more than likely. More than likely, you have put relationships as a portion, as a part of your pain. That you've been hurt so many times and by so many people that now the idea of a relationship is more painful than pleasurable. And you find pleasure in your loneliness. And you're making that your pleasure. And you'll say things like, if the right person come around and that sort of thing. But I listen to you speak. And you speak of a person who's not even open to a person coming around. So the question is it more pain or is it more pleasure? Is being by yourself seeming more pleasurable than the pain of being with someone? Now let's talk about guys. Guys are different. You see, a man can find pain within having a relationship, but he has a drive of the physical contact, and he will compartmentalize the relationship and say, I know that if I go this far within a relationship, it will become pain. But if I only go here, it is pleasure, right? So what that guy does is that he continuously gets into relationships, and anytime the relationship gets to a point where he knows that it could turn into pain, but actually it could be pleasurable because it could be the one relationship that he needs to be in to be great, he will turn it into pain, and he will then break up with the woman and break her heart, which then causes her to see relationships as pain. Do you see the vicious cycle? You see the vicious cycle. Right? So here it is now in our 30s and our 40s and 50s, and we got women who see relationships as pain because they just don't want to be with anybody else that causes them that kind of pain because they've been burned. All right? And then we have the other women who say, I want to have a relationship. I want to have a relationship. You know, they understand it as pleasure, but then here are these guys, these men who have turned deep committed relationships into pain points. So they get involved with the women who want a relationship, and as soon as the relationship gets to the point where they feel that it's going to turn painful, they break up with that woman, hurt her, she becomes burned, and now she wants to be lonely. Now she wants to be alone, right? Because this dude can't get beyond his perception of pain and have a relationship that is deep. And at the same time, when you got the guy who does want to find a relationship and does want it to go deep, he comes across the woman who she's been burned too many times and she just won't let you in. That's what most people are running into. We're running into, if you're a person and you're looking for someone to have that deep relationship, you keep running into the ones who've been burned and who don't really want to be in a deep relationship. The unfortunate part is that for most women, you can't see that the guy doesn't want the deep relationship until it's too late. You know, I mean, it would be great if they could be upfront and they would just know what's going on within them. But unfortunately, they don't. So that's the problem. So how do we fix it? I said we have to go all in the last video. We have to go all in. As a guy, if you think that every time you get to a certain point in a relationship that is going to cause you pain, stop. Go all in. All right? Go all in, because it is not a point of pain. It is the greatest pleasure you could ever have. And if you're a woman and you've been burned so many times and you're not even open yourself up and allow somebody to come into your heart and go all in. And yes, just like Eric, you might have to do it over and over again, but go all in. Allow yourself the opportunity to feel the greater joy. And if you're already a man or woman who's looking for the deep relationship, try to spot the person who's already open to it and stop dating the ones who are not. Once you realize they are not open to it, walk away. Walk away. If you don't, you will become tainted like the majority, and you don't want to become that one because it's more difficult at that point for you to get past that relationship. So, hey guys, y'all have a great day. Pursue pleasures and not pain, but understand the reality of what is pleasure and what is pain, and be willing to go through it and fight for it. But love is effortless. It is not difficult. It is not something that you should be struggling with. You should be with someone that you can love effortlessly, and they should be with you, and they love you effortlessly. If not, and you're still dating, stop, walk away. If you're married and you want to stay together, somebody has to make a change, and it has to be a real and permanent change. Y'all have a great day. I'm going to the gym.